Oh my God, we're back. Listen, I'm super excited. Listen, I told you earlier that George Daniel was coming, and guess what? He is in the building, George Daniel. Listen, we always in Chicago, many of us, especially our young adults and those coming, heard about George Music Room, George Music Room, George Music Room. We listen to so many artists, R. Kelly, Tina Marie. I mean, the list goes on. And listen, I am here with the George Daniels himself. We hear so much about George Daniels. Many of us see you in rooms. We see you on stages. And we just don't really how did this guy, you just got full access. You can go anywhere in the city, almost anywhere in the country. Can you tell us, who are you? How did you get your start? And just list a few of these artists that you helped put on stage as we know today.
Oh, wow. But there's so many artists. But, everybody has roots and they have a history. And I go all the way back to Chess Records. You know, when Beyonce did Cadillac Records?
Yes.
That was about Chess Records here in Chicago.
Wow.
And she portrayed Etta James. So my first real job in the business, I was Etta James' driver when I was 18, working at Chess Records. So my whole career really started in that arena. I became a driver for Billy Stewart. This is when artists did 5, 6 shows a day, be 6, 7 acts on the show.
Wow.
The Apollo in New York, the Uptown Theater in Philadelphia, the Howard Theater in D.C. Here in Chicago, it was the original Regal Theater on 47th Street. And in Detroit, it was a place called the 20 Grand, because see, black acts didn't even perform at the Fox, even when Motown was at its peak.
Really?
If you go in the Fox Theater today, you look at all the murals in there, and you don't see no black artists there.
None.
Nobody pays attention to that. But anyway, my journey started there at Chess. And it's so ironic when they did Cadillac Records.
Yeah.
And it was about Chess Records, Leonard Field Chess.
Yes.
And what they didn't talk about is in 1963, the most popular station that played black music in Chicago was WCES.
Yeah.
The Chess brothers bought that station in 1963, and they renamed it WVON. Voice of the Negro.
Wow.
That's when it was up at 1450 on your dial, AM. This is when all black music was only on AM.
Yes.
And it was always all the way to the right of the dial. I don't care what city you went in. That's where black music lived.
So you are really the anchor to getting the industry of music, of black music, heard. Is that safe to say?
It is. I was just unique as because of that background at Chess. I understood what it meant to be an artist, not that I was, but to see the struggles that new artists go through, and back in those days, it was just unique. Just like Cadillac Records, which was Chess Records, and the artists had Cadillacs.
Yeah. So the Cadillac Records that was Chess Records became Cadillac. Is it because they were given? Is that true? I know we saw the movie, but can you walk us through that a little bit?
Well, they earned it. The two brothers who were Polish Jews, okay? And when they came, their family came to America, Chicago. Their father was a junk man at 29th and State Street. And they heard the black music coming out of the churches.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. Oh, man. Yeah, babe.
Can't get no better than this. It's George. It's how this go. On here, you GlobalMixx, George Daniels. You got to answer when your boo call you. So which is what we call today Motor Row, right? Is on 22nd?
Record Row.
Record Row, okay.
Record Row is from Roosevelt Road to Cermak. That's where all the where the record labels were.
Wow, okay.
Now from Cermak going south on Michigan Avenue is Motor Row.
Wow.
That's the difference. See, so what you have, the largest black record label before Motown was at 1449 South Michigan Avenue, which is now Overflow Coffee Shop. That was VJ Records, Vivian and James. They were from Gary, Indiana.
So, George, tell us, we always talk about there was no record labels in Chicago, but you just revealed that that's not true. How do we get it back, and why did they leave and go to the LAs and go to the New Yorks? Like, how do we get it back, and why did they leave?
No, well, see, you have to remember, there were no major distributors. Everything was independent. Matter of fact, the first black distributor of major labels in America was at 1827 South Michigan, Ernie and George Leaner, the Leaner family. They had a record label, a studio upstairs over their distribution center. And I worked for them for a while as well. And see, so just like in hip hop,
Agree.
people don't realize it, but hip hop started. All those labels were independent. I had black executives from record labels. George, don't worry about that rap. It ain't gonna last. Yeah, this was back in the '80s, and so. But all of those labels, because I had to remind LL and a few others recently, because they told me where it all began and all of that. If it wasn't for black record stores, mom and pops as they called them, hip hop never would have grew wings. We're the ones that created the first sales that they ever had. And so the change, they saw when we did the in stores at George's, there'd be white kids from the suburbs in line. And see, so that's because it was such a new genre of music. And the only place you can find it was in the hood. Yeah.
So to that, you establish George Music Room, and there's just a list of some of the artists that you help push their music. So was this done? Back then, was there a budget ever existed? You know, now artists got to have a budget to do radio promo. Did they have budgets?
Oh, they always had budgets. This is when you signed that contract. Back then, those old shady contracts when artists signed without having their own attorneys.
Oh, okay.
And they got these because they had marketing budgets. This is how I learned so much because I joined the white trade organizations. NARM, National Association of Retail Merchandisers, Record Merchandisers. That was NARM. This is Tower Records and all of those stores. Yeah. And I was literally the first person of color to ever be on that board. And it was Ernie Lena from the Lena Press that introduced me to NARM. I started George in 1970, and he influenced me and took me to my first NARM in 1972. And he was the only black guy there then. And see, so I'm the only person that wound up on the board. I served 2-3-year terms on the board of NARM.
Listen.
I was able to teach other black store owners about the marketing dollars. See, you know, we had Barney's here, we had Fletcher's, Gardner. These were black one-stops, but they didn't have a marketing department. They just sold you the records, and most of our stores were like, quote, mom and pop records, the 45s mainly, were just part of our inventory. We had candy and everything, what stores had. I used to sell them records out of the trunk of my car. It was one of my jobs, wholesale. And so I saw this, so that's one of the reasons why I called it George's Music Room rather than George's Record Shop.
Okay.
You know, if you like Marvin Gaye, I had everything he made. If you like Nat King Cole, I have it. If you like Miles Davis, I would have. So one of my first signs, I had a saying, we sell emotions and memories.
Wow.
That's what
we sell emotions and memories. Listen, George, you have so much history. This is not even enough time, but this is good. How can people, two more questions. One, what would you say to our young people? I know you have a heart for young people who are saying, I want to be like the Jay-Z's. I want to be like the Kanye's. I want to be like Beyonce. What would you say to those young people that are listening to this?
I would say expose yourself to all kinds of music. Don't get caught up in these algorithms. If you want to be an artist, expose it. Go listen to classical music. Listen to what a real violin sounds like. Listen to a piano. The reason why you had only one Aretha Franklin, one James Brown, one Marvin, one Smokey, because radio wouldn't play you if you sound like somebody.
Ew.
You couldn't perform at a club. See, here in Chicago, like New York, whether it's Houston, anywhere, every nightclub had a house band. And they had local artists. I mean, here in Chicago, when I was a shorty working at Chess, I didn't tell you this part, but I wound up at Chess because of my girlfriend. That was Minnie Riperton back then.
Wait a minute now. Did you just say Minnie Riperton?
That's how I wound up at Chess. I met Minnie the year I graduated high school in '64. And I was hanging out that summer. I meet this young girl. I was going to Loop Junior College, which is now Harold Washington, and I was working at Montgomery Ward over on Chicago Avenue in the River.
Montgomery. Now you know you're young if you know about Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, over back at Breeding Green. But and so I was hanging out that summer, and I met Minnie, and she had one more year at Hyde Park. I took her to the prom and what have you. But she worked at Chess part-time as a receptionist, and she sang with a girls group called the Gems. And so records like Remember Fontella Bass, Rescue Me?
Yeah.
Rescue Me. That's Minnie in the background. There's a number of Ramsey Lewis. She sang a few things on background on him, Bo Diddley, and so on and so forth. And that's how I wound up in the business, hanging around there with Minnie.
So the advice that you give to our young people is learn
Yes.
multiple music to be established.
The idea is to find your sound. If you think you're a vocalist, then get a vocal coach. And so you can. What's your signature? You can't be sounding different. You can't be sounding different on every damn song. You know. If you're Stephanie Mills, no matter what she makes, that's the. Gladys Knight. Songs. There was only one Prince. There was only one Michael. There was only one James Brown. Now you don't know who the hell you listen to, because people are not musicians, and these algorithms and what have you. You're just selling a lifestyle. You're not. Who's your audience? You're gonna be doing. That's why I look at some of the young ladies that perform. Where's the future Diana Ross's? You see how she's 80-something. Look how elegant she is. And we never went to go look at their bodies. We wanted to hear what they sound like.
Wow.
And see, so now
You
we're
fancy stuff.
Hey, well,
you said you cooking.
Oh yeah. Right, well, we've created these
He's
images.
He's cooking.
We've created these images
Wow.
that youngsters living up to, and it's just like when rap first started. They sampled classic songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the whole family could listen to rap.
Yeah.
And it transitioned over when the lyrics got to explicit radio, was bleeping out, and it got to a point where they couldn't even play the records. And so where did they start breaking music at? Strip clubs.
Listen, we got to have a part two, because this man is dropping some gems. One of the things I want to leave us with, he said, what is your signature? You need to find your signature. That's why can only be one of you. So be you. If you want to be the icons, and we all want to be, like I call him Uncle George, he's been an opportunity to be in my life. If you want to be that, be you. It's only one of you. Listen, we live at Malcolm S. College. Shout out to McCoy Promotions, GlobalMixx, Mary Datcher. We right here at the pop-up George Music Room, one and only George Daniels.